Imagine being the largest country on Earth, twice the size of Canada, yet feeling perpetually strangled by invisible chains. Not missiles, not enemies, but geography itself. Russia's Achilles heel isn't ideology or economy, it's the very land beneath its feet. Let's uncover how rivers, plains, icy seas, and choke points have shaped, and often shackled, one of history's greatest empires. Prepare to be curious, maybe even a little shocked. This isn't a dull geography lesson, it's the story of a giant trapped by its own map. 1. The size illusion versus hidden vulnerabilities. Russia is colossal. It sprawls across 11 time zones and contains a third of all the world's remaining boreal forests and huge mineral wealth, but that doesn't guarantee strength. Its vastness comes with crippling logistical challenges. Strategic depth not equal defense. Its size can feel like strategic buffer, but without infrastructure, it's more like empty space. The railways and roads are stretched, underdeveloped, especially in the Far East, making economic cohesion and military mobilization slow and costly. Populated yet isolated. Most Russians live west of the Urals, but vast eastern regions remain sparsely occupied and fragilely connected. 2. No warm water free pass. Ports freeze or are blocked. Russia's few warm water ports, like Novorossiysk, St. Petersburg, and Vladivostok, either freeze seasonally or are trapped behind sea choke points controlled by others. Port access reality. To reach the oceans, ships must pass through the Bosphorus, controlled by Turkey, a NATO member, the Danish Straits, controlled by Denmark, Sweden, Germany, and routes via the Sea of Japan, dominated by Japan, a frozen giant. When ports are frozen or embargoed, sea trade stalls, hurting Russia's global naval power and economy. 3. Flat, easy-to-cross borders. The North European plain, a wide-open funnel. Unlike mountainous borders elsewhere, Russia's western frontier is an open corridor, a flat expanse leading straight to Moscow. Buffer states were its defense. The Soviet era depended on buffer zones, Ukraine, Belarus, Baltic states, to increase reaction time. When those dissolved, the risk grew. Strategic danger today. The plain makes Russia vulnerable to mechanized invasion. Even if logistically tough, history shows it's a real risk. 4. Mountains and rivers. Too few, too far. Natural barriers are rare. While the Urals divide Europe from Asia, they're not enough to stop an invasion. And key southern areas like the Caucasus and Central Asia are porous or contested. Lack of internal walls. Compared to countries with rivers, forests, or fortifiable hills, Russia's geography offers few choke points. That makes defense planning harder. 5th, fragile agricultural foundation. Much land is almost uninhabitable. Over 30% is tundra, frozen year-round. Taiga covers massive areas but is boggy and barely suited for farming. Short growing season. Russia's agricultural calendar is 5 to 6 months. Western Europe often enjoys 9 months, an enormous disadvantage. Resource wealth, curse, and blessing. Siberia holds oil, gas, minerals, but exploiting these riches is expensive, requires infrastructure, and often bypasses populated areas. 6. Ecology and isolation. A land cut off from threats and trade. Russia's interior often has closed watersheds, meaning pollutants don't escape easily, though its contamination threatens internal regions more than neighbors. Isolation impedes integration. The physical geography hinders Russia's ability to fully join global economic systems. Its heartland doesn't easily connect to global supply chains. 7. Geography shapes policy and instability. A cycle shaped by land. Russia's geography forces it into expansionist posture to create buffer states and secure coasts. But expansion further stretches its fragile infrastructure, hitting economic and social limit. Geography births strategy. From Tsarist Russia to Putin's defense of near abroad, geography constantly influences policy. To claim Crimea, develop the Arctic, or contest Eastern Europe. Alright, let's cruise deeper into this. We've already set the stage. Russia's geography is immense, yet chained. But now, let's zoom in on some overlooked features that bring fresh angles. Elements that aren't just background scenery, but actual game changers in how this country lives, breathes, and acts. 8. Arctic ambitions, cold frontier, hot competition. The Arctic is Russia's hidden vault, a place where giant reserves of oil, gas, and minerals lie beneath unforgiving ice. On the surface, it looks like a frozen wasteland, but scratch beneath, and it's a gold mine. Yet, to unlock that wealth, Russia faces a battle with not only nature's cold, but also melting ice that shifts shipping lanes, and competition from the likes of Canada, the US, Norway. This Arctic jigsaw is rewriting global geopolitics. Melting ice, sliding opportunity. As the Arctic warms, new shipping lanes open, like the Northern Sea route along Siberia. It's shorter than going through the Suez, but only when ice retreats enough and when Russia actually controls the route. Otherwise, conditions are unpredictable, dangerous, ports vanish under shifting ice flows, and infrastructure is still young. So this shortcut is still a very rugged ride, riddled with logistics nightmares. Strategic positioning. Russia is racing to deploy icebreakers, Arctic bases, and militarized patrols to stake claim. But this pushes its already strained system into even more remote, high-cost territory. The Arctic may be full of promise, but it's also full of peril. 9. The Siberian paradox. Resource-rich, population-poor. Siberia's wealth versus population gap. Siberia is loaded with resources: coal, gas, gold, diamonds, forests stretching for thousands of kilometers. Yet very few people actually live there. Why? Because it's brutally cold, poorly accessible, and lacks cities or infrastructure to support big communities. The tyranny of distance. Transporting resources out of Siberia isn't like shipping from a cozy, well-connected port. It's hundreds or thousands of freezing kilometers to railheads, to ports that freeze or need icebreaker escort. The costs aren't imaginary, they're staggering. So while Siberia is a financial dream, every ounce extracted bleeds money just to get it to market. 10. The Great East-West Imbalance. Demographic gravity in the West. Almost all of Russia's 145 million people cluster in the European part. The Far East feels like a different planet. Cold, empty, isolated. This imbalance means the central government needs to make extra effort and money to make the East relevant. A kind of demographic gravitational pull that pulls resources westward. Border vulnerability in remote stretches. The sparse population also means border security is patchy. Human presence is skimpy. Trying to maintain control or even basic monitoring across those wild borders with China, Mongolia, and North Korea is a full-time, expensive headache. 11. Climate extremes. The refrigerated frontier. Temperature swings that defy belief. Some Russian settlements swing from scorching plus 30 degrees Celsius, 86 degrees Fahrenheit, in summer to bone-biting minus 50 degrees Celsius, minus 58 degrees Fahrenheit, in winter. Imagine trying to build roads, pipelines, or even power lines in soil that's frozen deep for much of the year, then thaws. That's called permafrost. It heaves, shifts, and cracks. Infrastructure here doesn't just wear out, it slowly sinks, warps, or fractures. Building in these zones is an exercise in extreme engineering and long-term maintenance. One miscalculation, and nature reclaims your work. Economic Achilles heel. That means anything built in the north is twice as expensive, slows down progress, and doubles the chance of failure. Geography runs the project and the budget. 12. Hidden infrastructural weak points. Overdependence on a Soviet-era network. Russia still leans heavily on rail, much of it laid decades ago. And while that network is extensive, it's also aging and underfunded. If even a few lines go down, because of sabotage, extreme weather, or wear and tear, the ripple effect is massive. Think refugees stuck in one region, supplies that can't move, economies at risk. Winter beyond romantic visuals. We tend to think of winter in Russia in picturesque ways. Snow-covered churches, tranquil birch forests. But for logistics, it's the nightmare season. Roads vanish in whiteouts, frost destroys power grids, diesel freezes, and airports shift under snowdrifts. Transportation isn't seasonal, it's survival. So here's the truth. Russia isn't so much trapped by its people or politics, it's trapped by its geography. Frozen seas, blocked ports, endless plains, harsh lands, all forged its strength and its weakness. It's a giant built on quicksand. Curious? Inspired? Maybe even a bit unsettled? Geography is destiny, and Russia's destiny is still being written. If this cracked open a new way of thinking, smash that subscribe button, hit like, And share this with someone who loves history, strategy, or wild geography. Because the land doesn't lie, it teaches. And this giant has a story worth hearing.